Welcome everyone. Today we'll be discussing on the topic of cross-border people management. Basically, we are looking at multinational companies per se and how do the multinational companies have human resource policies as far as management is concerned, as far as administration is concerned, where people, or should I say employees, are located in different countries, possibly continents thereby. Anyway, why we are talking about this? Because there is an increasing importance of global human resource understanding. We need to understand that everything makes an impact. Be it the global competition, be it the market access opportunities, the foreign human resource. I'm talking about foreign human resources wherein the foreigners would be coming into our country and probably working and earning a livelihood, or let's say people coming going out from their own country, home country, if I may say so, own slash home country, and going outwards into a foreign country, probably, and earning a livelihood. Yes, this has translated into international mergers, international acquisition, and thereby the need for today's presentation about managing people across borders. So, yes, everything counts, be it in global competition, be it foreign human resources, be it market access opportunities, or even international merger, as the case might be. Let us understand the types of organization. Now, if we are to plot it in an x and y axis with respect to the local responsiveness on the x axis and global competitiveness or efficiency on the y axis. Now, if you look into it, when everything is local, let's say you don't have a global outlook, you have a local outlook and local efficient, you are locally very viable, responsive, there is a captive audience around it. So utilize this particular existence capabilities to expand into a foreign market, and that is what we would love to do. Is if you are doing good at something, you are specialty in something, you are making things happen. Probably why not exploit it and probably increase your reach, market reach. Similarly, if the local responsiveness is absolutely low, probably, but global efficiency excellently high, so the outlook should always be global. Now, this is where we would love to go around it, wherein you view the world as a single market. Operations are controlled almost centrally and from the corporate offices. Similarly, when the local responsiveness is extremely high, but the global efficiency not so good. Now, this is where we are looking at multinational. We would love to partner with somebody at the local levels and carry on with the business. This is where the multinational companies context comes around it. Several subsidiary operating as a standalone business units in multiple countries. If you want to go around, when there is a high global efficiency and a high local responsiveness. Now, this is where we are talking about transnational companies. That means they are excellent in their line of work. The companies are specialized facilities. They are permitting local responsiveness, complex coordination mechanism, and provide global integration. That is what we are all aspiring to go for. So international corporations, let us understand what are they. It's a domestic firm that utilizes existing capabilities to move into overseas market or into foreign land. Again, simple and straight, you are doing good in your local market. You have a captive audience. Your product is very welcomed in the market. So why not take that product, take your services out in a newer market altogether? And that is what international corporation is all about it. Whereas as a multinational corporation, firms with independent business operating in multiple countries. Now, this is where there might be federal regulation where you have to have an investment from a local authority, a local partner. Probably that might be one of the scenarios. Or let's say if there is prohibitions in repatriation of profit, probably you operate a company in different countries as a single unit company. Now, this is what the multiple and multinational concepts comes around it. Firm with independent business units operating in multiple countries. Global corporations are the firms that has similar existence, but they are widely integrated through a centralized home offices, and that is what a global corporation is all about. It they might be fragmented into different countries, different continent, but probably everything has been controlled by the central office, and more or less it is uniform rules and regulations that has been followed around here. We need to understand this perspective as often as possible. Next comes is the transnational companies. What are we looking into it? The firms that attempts altogether everything that comes around here. We are looking at responsiveness on a global scale. We are looking at network of specializations in the operating level. What exactly we are looking at? We are trying to make balance, a right balance between what is right and what is wrong, and how do we carry it forward towards it. That is what we should be applying our logic to. So, the human resource management issues in a unified approach, Europe, if I may quote, now there is this map of Europe altogether. We have England, we have Germany, we have France, we have the first world countries. In fact, most of the first world countries are concentrated in Europe. So there are issues still, as in staffing, as in training and development, as in the productivity issues. Certain companies, certain governments, certain federal authorities requisites different parameters of existence for the human resource of the employees of the citizens. So we are talking about compensations and benefit. We are talking about labor relationships, and this is what exactly we meant around. Yes, we're talking about staffing, training, development, productivity, compensation, and labor relation thereby. So let us visit the environment. As far as culturally, we might be speaking different languages. We might be following different religion. The value system might be completely separate. Attitudes, education, social organization, technology, politics, and laws of the countries. Everything there is a differentiations. Every country would have their unique things, unique sets of features or characteristics that will be displayed. Characteristics, I repeat again, are language, religion, values, attitude, education, social organization, technology, and perhaps the laws thereby. So, host country, a country in which the international corporation operate. It means there is a country where in there's a captive market. So, a company decides to open up their unit in that particular country. That becomes a host country, the country which is hosting the multinational company altogether. Culture and environment of an international business. We have the values. I have already said so. We have been talking about the human capital as such, the social structures, the communications. We are talking about the religious beliefs and the values, ideologies as such altogether. Now, if you look into it, the values are work ethics, time orientations, individualism, collectivism, as the case might be. We are talking about risk propensity. Religious beliefs are denominations, uh, totems, taboos, rituals, holidays. Communication might be languages, dialects, nonverbal, media, technology, the ethos that comes around it. Social structure is all about kingship and family. It is all about mobility, nationalism, urbanization, and so on and so forth. Education primarily might be of the level of education that comes around it, and how do we achieve it? This is what needs to be done every now and then. Advantages. What are the advantages that comes out? We are talking about the host country, the home country, and probably the third country. Now, if you look into it, the host country is all about being less cost, because if you are resourcing people from the host country itself, that means the cost of the labor is bare minimum. We have a preference for the host country government's knowledge of the environment, language facilities, as the case might be. Whereas in the home country, there might be a talent availability within the team, within the country, greater controls, company experiences, mobility might be there, experiences might be there. We are talking about providing to anybody and everybody as far as the corporation is concerned. Let us talk about the third country. Now, this is where the specialty comes in. This is where we like to go around and speak about everything as far as technology is concerned. We are talking about international outlook. We are talking about multilingualism in this aspects. Expatriates or home country nationals. Employees from home country who are sent on an international assignments are known as expatriates. Or people who are coming into a foreign land to earn their living is the expatriate as per the things. But HCNs or home country host country nationals would be the natives, the citizens of the people of the country that comes around here. That is what we are longing for. Third country nationals are natives of the country that the home country or the host country actually hosts around it. We should be talking about them, nothing but them. That is what idea is all about it. So over a period of time, if you look into it, there are certain changes. Now, On the basis of employees on the y-axis and probably on the time basis on the x-axis, if you look into it, there are changes that comes around it. If you look, the expatriate would take a little bit of a time to get adjusted, where the host countries would be comfortable in the first place. This emphasis, and this is how it comes around it. The expatriates over a period of time will be reduced because the talent transfer will actually happen to the host country and national citizens. They will understand the flow of work, they will understand the process of the work, they will understand the ethos values that needs to be ascertained, and as a result, probably the host country nationals will eventually occupy the positions in the company. So, international staffing, the key issues are all about recruitment, all about selection, and probably the training and development. We need these things to be done time and again. We are talking about the right recruitment, right talent, right selection, probably positioning out them as on when on basis, grooming them up altogether. Training and development is what we look forward to. Guest workers or foreign workers invited to perform needed labor. More often than not, there might be specialties, there might be advisors, there might be consultants who might come out and provide necessary suggestions and advices. Yes, for certain kind of small stint of work, you don't require a work visa. Probably a permit will be fair enough, which is a permit is issued for in days, whereas work visas might be issued in the number of years that you want to work around here. So government document granting a foreign individual the right to seek employment is the or the work certificate. Expatriate selection criteria. Now, why are we looking for expatriate selection criteria? Is because of the fact that it helps you to augment productivity. It helps you to augment your profitability of the company thereby. Yes, we are talking about international experience. Yes, we are talking about interpersonal skills, country experiences, language skills, family flexibility, technical competence, professional experiences. These are all part and parcel of your work life together. Let us visit the core skills. We are talking about the skills that is considered as critical, and when we are saying critical, it means it translates into an overall success for the company thereby. We need to understand this time and again. Augmented skills is what we are looking forward to. How do we come across the augmented skills? Skills helpful in facilitating the efforts of an expatriate manager. This is what we are trying to figure out. And I am asking you to figure what is the right set of skills and right set of attitude that will help you in facilitating the expatriate manager, as what the augmented skill is all about it. Skills of an expatriate manager, let us believe there is something called an core skills for which he or she has been attracted or been hired in the first place. We are talking about experiences, we are talking about decision making, we are also talking about resourcefulness, adaptability, cultural sensitivity, team building, and maturity. Now, these are the core building skills. The core skill will tell you how good are you at your technical knowledge, how good or how viable are you to ensure that the team building skills becomes much more effective eventually. But what helps the core skills? It might be your augmented skills, experiences, decision making. We are talking about resourcefulness, adaptability, cultural sensitivity. Yes, if you are not culturally sensitive, probably your acceptance level will be a bit on a difficult side. We need to understand the team building and the maturity levels as on when on basis. Failure rate. Yes, it has been felt, it has been noticed, it has been seen that there is an extreme high percentage of expatriate who do not absolutely perform satisfactorily. They might be excellent in the host countries, but when it comes to an expatriate, they are not doing the requisite things at all. This is what we need to understand time and again as on when on basis. Looking forward to it. If we may go across the reasons thereby. Now, what are we looking at? It is the family adjustment that comes around, how it goes around, the lifestyle issues, the work adjustment issues that comes. There is a probability of bad selection happening around every now and then. The poor performance, the other opportunity arises. What is meant by other opportunities? There might be other companies also vying to achieve the talent thereby. This is what we are looking forward, right? Business reasons are repatriation reasons and so on and so forth that comes around it. if you want to go across the notification why a person becomes successful and why a person might not be that successful, that might relate not to the personal, that might relate not to the professional credence, but also the family adjustment issues that comes around it. We have the lifestyle issues. There might be issues where people are used to going out at the night and have a wonderful nightlife, but then there are countries which do not, or should I say, they prohibit nightlife activities altogether. So that these are the major reason why things does not gel well. These are the major reasons why things actually falters in the long. Now, transnational teams composed of members from multiple nationalities working on a project that spans multiple countries. Now, this is what transnational teams is all about. It. We are looking at a host of members, a complex characters coming from different background, a number of people coming from different countries, a number of experts coming from different values, ethics, and attitude. When they collate and activities for a project, when they collate on a different terminology, different turf, different continent, yes, thing changes. And that is what is a transnational team is all about. It might enhance the productivity, it might. What are we looking at it? We're looking at global managers which seize strategic opportunities, manage decentralized operation. They are aware of the global issues, sensitive to the diversity issues. We are talking about interpersonal competence. We are talking about skill building in the communities as such. Now, diversity is one of those facts that might actually play a very key role in the customizations of a person, be it an expatriate, be it a third country nationals, and so on and so forth. So these are the issues that the global managers has to strive to make a right balance around it. Now, what is a global manager? A manager who can understand the nerve of a business, who can pinpoint what is working and what is not working. Manager who is equipped global business altogether. The content of the training program needed for the employees who are supposed to be placed overseas. Now, one of the major thing would be language training. Next best thing would be a cultural training, career development and mentoring, and personal and family life. Now, once you are, if you're not accustomed to the local dialect, if you're not accustomed to the local values, local culture, it becomes bit of a difficult for you to adjust altogether. So yes, training is required in terms of culture sensitivity or language understanding. Then we can always motivate the person in terms of career planning, in terms of mentoring, in terms of personal life issues or work life balance per se. Repatriation. Now, repatriation is completely the opposite process of expatriation, wherein the process of employee transitions home from an international assignment. In expatriation, they go from home host country nations or home country nation to a third country nations, right? So they go out, but repatriation is the other way around. When they come back to their own countries, so there might be again the whole process comes to a full end, because this can be meant a cultural shock. When they come back to their home country nations, things might have changed on their home turf. So there's a perceptual stress experienced by the people who have already settled overseas. They might not be aware of the fact that where at whatever level, status, culture, values, ethics in the home country they have left it after years of working abroad. If they come back, you might see a change in the value, ethic, principles of the home countries. And again, there is a sense of a shock, a sense of a dissatisfaction that comes around here. So international performance appraisal, one of the major issues that comes around it. We have those key issues as the home country evaluation, what happens in the home country actually plays a role in the host country evaluation. Then we are talking about the augmented duties per se. We are talking about individual learning, the organizational learning, the providing feedback as on when on basis. What are we looking for? So yes, there are issues both home countries and host countries. There are augmented job duties and individual learning. You are talking only of individual learning. Why? What about organizational learning and the feedback thereby? It has been noticed, if you look into the global perspective and a local perspective, there has to be a complete balance when we are talking about remuneration, when we are talking about performance appraisal, when we are talking about promotions, and whenever, in short, if you are talking about appraisal methodologies, there has to be a just balance about home country nationals and the host country evaluation. Both the evaluations should match each other. So you will have those complete equivalence about the number of people being promoted or punished other way around. Let us understand the effective compensation. Now, the compensation package might provide an incentive for a person to leave a country, leave their own country, probably go abroad to work for it, maintain a home country standards of living, facilitate re-entry into the home country, provide for the education of the children, maintain relationships with families, with friends, and business associates. This is what we are looking forward to, right? So there has to be an incentive, there has to be a no compromise on the standard of living, facilitated a re-entry, having a future prospect of coming back to their own countries per se, education for the children, education for the family, and having a wonderful relationship that can be augmented. Then we have the balance sheet approach. That is the compensation system designed to match the purchasing power of the person's home country. Now, if somebody from a first world country comes to a third world country, will he love to come? Probably no. Will she be motivated? At no chances they would be interested. But the vice versa, if somebody from a third world country wants to be shifted to a first world country, would he or she be delighted to come? Probably yes, they will be. But what about the compensation? Now, a person who is shifted from first world country to a third world country, the purchasing power are completely different in both the countries. So, on what basis the compensation should be decided? It has to be on a person's home country. It has to be on the living style, the lifestyle that he or she is actually used to. But again, it cannot be a person coming from third world country to a first world country cannot be given a third world wages. That is not acceptable. So it is always on the higher end that you come up, end up paying around it. We are talking about an hourly wages. For just for your example, I have sourced this from the Department of Labor. The hourly compensation, I have equated all the compensation in terms of dollars per hour. So if you look into it, Germany would be having a $28.28, $28.28 per hour, whereas Belgium has $22.82. Similarly, the least one would be Mexico, where per hour earning would be $1.75, and so on and so forth. So I've given you a host of countries, mostly from Europe and America, so as to give you a proper understanding of what exactly is happening. Co-determination is the representation of the labor of the boards and the directors of the company, as in proper representation, or should I say workers' participation in the management, or from every level there has to be a co-determination that comes around it. With this, I suppose I come to an end of this presentation. I'm sure the human resource issues as well as cross-border people management are been very clear in your heads after watching this video. Thank you for watching it.